Here are the best cool tone blushes. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I wanted to do a quick overview of 10 cool tone blushes that I feel are really good. If you saw my declutter that went live on Thursday, you will have seen that I got rid of quite a few blushes, and when I was like going through the footage and editing everything, there were really only one or two things where I was like, maybe I should have kept that. But I thought we could come on here and talk about something that I feel is really hard to find, and that is a good cool toned blush. Because if you are like me and you have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, you can imagine how difficult it can be to find a blush that doesn't pull orange on you. So if that's you as well and you're looking for good recommendations, then hopefully these can be of help. So before we get to the actual products, I do want to point out that what is cool toned and how things are going to pull is very dependent on your undertone. The recommendations I'm sharing today is especially aimed at people with very light skin tones and people who do really need no warmth at all. If you do like a little bit of warmth, like I actually do myself, I like these options that I have here today, but when I look at my overall blush collection, I definitely have like warmer tone mauve tones and like some other things as well where I'm like, yeah, I can get away with that because I do like a little bit of warmth there. Mainly because I do have a neutral undertone mainly, and then it skews a little bit more pinky cool tone, you could say. But if you are truly cool toned, you know the struggle of how difficult it can be to find things that don't pull orange or look weird. So these are all options that I think are going to work really well. There will be some deeper toned options as well. So if you do have a deeper skin tone than I do, there are going to be options here for you as well. Because I actually feel that if you are looking for a good cool tone blush shade, that looking at the shades that are marketed towards deeper skin tones are actually going to give you a lot more options than the options that are marketed towards lighter skin tones. Those all tend to be some sort of peach, coral, that sort of vibe very often. If that's not what you're looking for, then I think I can be of help. Before we get to any of these other blushes, because I've got 10 here, I do have to mention this. This is one of the best cool toned options that was ever made, but it's been discontinued. So if you still have this in your collection and you didn't know quite what to do with it, try it on your cheeks, because this is one of those multitasker balms that can be used on eyes, lips, or the face, and I mainly use it as a blush. It's by Giorgio Armani, and it's their Neo Nude Melting Color Balm. They say here it's for cheeks and eyes, but you can use it on your lips as well if you like. And this is in the shade 50. Now this looks a little brown, I feel, in the packaging, but on me, it has this grayish purple undertone that I really appreciate. It's sort of this cream to powder, sheer but buildable sort of formula that can be applied with a finger or with a brush, and I really like this look. So if you still have this, I do feel that on my fingertip it looks a little bit more purple than it does in the actual finger swatch here, but this is a great option. I wish they didn't discontinue it, and that's why I had to feature it here, because this is just one of the best cool toned options ever made. And that's also the conundrum here. If you're looking for good cool tone blushes and you're only sticking to Western makeup brands, you only have very few options. Most of the options I'm sharing here today will be by Asian beauty brands, because they are killing it in the cool tone blush options for sure. Speaking of K-beauty, and something that's again a little bit more gray leaning, is this Too Cool for School Art Class by Rodin blush shade in the shade D Mauve. So here's what the packaging looks like. This is really pretty. It's very light though. That's one of the downsides to some of these Asian beauty brands, is that it's not really geared towards people with a deeper skin tone. But if you have very fair skin, I have just found so many great options, and very often a lot of them are actually around the same price point as a lot of drugstore options are. You can see this has quite a bit of a white base, but then it has this like purpley, pinky mauve tone to it, which I think is really nice. It's very light though, it's very desaturated. This really only works for me in the wintertime when I'm at my palest. So here is what that swatch looks like. It barely shows up on camera because it's that light. If you're not much of a powder person, but you like the look of that art class blush, then the Mousse blush in Muley Bowl can be a nice one. They do a whole range of liquid and cream cheek products. I don't remember what this type is called exactly, but it's the one with the purpley blue cap. I have a couple of these shades, but I decluttered most of them because this is the one I like the best on myself. But there is one that's even more gray tone than this is. And they also do a really nice sort of neutral kind of option that is also a little bit more gray leaning. So if that's what you're looking for, then that can be nice as well. This is more of a like pinky lavender sort of shade. I really like the look of this, and because it is an Asian beauty brand, it's going to be dewy, it's sheer, it's really, really pretty on the cheeks. I love this in the spring, summertime because of that slight hint of lavender that it has. That's why I feel it really works. Sticking to the same brand then, and again, something that's a little bit more gray leaning, is their Mousse Care Cheek in the shade Dim Dum. This exact same line comes with a gray shade as well, which they recommend for making things more cool toned. So that's another thing you can do. If you have the shade in Down from this line, you can add that to other liquid blushes you might already have and sort of mix your own if you want to. I feel this is already quite gray on its own. So this is the shade Dim Dum, and I love this shade to pieces. You can see compared to the other one that this is a lot brighter than this is. This is a lot more muted. It's a little bit sort of like putty leaning almost. I mean, could that even be a blush shade? But I think this is really pretty, and you can see that the other one is a little sheer. This has a little bit more pigmentation to it, so that is a really good option as well. You can see compared to everything else, this is pretty gray toned already, but then they also do the gray tone to make it even more gray toned if you want to. Now, as far as I know, this one was limited edition, and I really hope that Catrice brings this back, but it's a cream blush from the Mystic Forest collection. It's in the shade Purple Touch. I really enjoy the packaging for this one. It's really, really pretty. It's basic, it's simple, but these are the kind of shades that I would, if you're looking at Western makeup brands, very often they do 6 shades and all the shades look the same. We all know that's going on. If you've been watching, like keeping track of some new makeup releases, you know that that's how it goes. So I don't feel we get shades like this too often. So when a drugstore brand did it at like almost next to nothing at the drugstore, I was like, right, that's a great option. And this again, like with some purples, if some brands do them, they can actually be a little bit warm. But this one, you can see that it's really nicely cool toned. It has this bluish, pinky undertone to it. It's intense, but it's not too intense. And because it is a cream, it is really easy to manipulate. The way I like to apply any cream or liquid blush is to take a little bit on my finger and just spread it with my fingers and then tap it in, which is a lot more forgiving, and that way you can make these really intense shades work even if you have an incredibly light skin tone. But if you were to build this up enough, then of course you can also make a shade like this work beautifully on very deep skin tones as well. A brand new option is from Essence. This is the Soft Baked Soft Baked Blush in the shade Berry Bliss. And this is what I mean again with, look at the shades that aren't going to be the lightest one in whatever the blush range has to offer, because very often if it's aimed at a deeper skin tone, for some reason they make it more cool toned. I don't know what's going on there. You can't really see this in the pan, but I feel that once you put this on your cheeks, it has a really lovely, almost like very soft, coolish pinky glow. So here it is in a full-on swatch on my finger. And you can see that as intense as it looks in the pan, it's still intense. I need a very light hand with this, but it's actually pretty forgiving, I find. So I don't find it too offensive, and it has this really pretty, almost lilac leaning flash. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate about this. It's a really pretty berry shade, and that is also my main recommendation if you are looking for a cool tone blush and you're looking at it from the drugstore or a brand that is more readily available here in Western Europe. look into berry shades because they are going to be your best friend. Again, like I mentioned with the purple blush, you can manipulate these, make sure you use it with a very wispy brush and a light hand, and you can get away with it even if you are incredibly fair-skinned. But this, on a deep skin tone, gorgeous. That's going to be absolutely stunning. I have another one of these like desaturated K-beauty options, and this is actually what's on my cheeks today. It looks like I'm not wearing a lot, and this is incredibly dewy. It's by Jung Mool. It's their Artist Cushion Blush in the shade Odd Mauve. And a good cool tone mauve is so difficult to find. Most mauve tones you'll find will have a little bit of brown to them if it's a blush shade in a lot of Western makeup. But this one, I feel, doesn't have that at all. It's this pinky mauve tone. It's really, really pretty. Because it's a cushion, it does come with the little pad as well. If you want to see me apply it, I actually filmed a short as I was getting ready today, so that's going to be up hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And this is really, really pretty. It's just a little bit lighter than everything else, but this again in the wintertime works really well for me. And today, because I'm wearing quite an intense eye look with like pinky purpley tones, I didn't want to distract from my eye makeup too much. So I didn't want there to be too much on the cheeks. I just wanted the rest of my makeup to be a little bit more plain and sort of downplaying it. I don't always want incredibly bright blushes on my cheeks. If you're suffering from blush blindness, as I know a lot of people do, then shades like this take some getting used to, because compared to something like the Essence, like this one right next to it, it's going to look like you're wearing nothing on your face. But I feel that this is just enough to get a little bit of color in the cheeks. It still looks like I've got a natural flush going on, especially where the side where the light doesn't hit my face. I feel it looks really natural, and that dewiness I really enjoy. More berry tones, and I love, love, love the MAC blushes in the Extra Dimension range. I also love the ones in the Glow Play line, but I don't really feel that line has really good cool tones in. This is the one in Rosy Cheeks, and this is really pretty. This is very similar to the Essence though. So if you can get the Essence, which has only just launched here in Europe, so it's only been out for a few weeks, then maybe this is a little bit more easily accessible for most people around the world. Of course, it's more expensive, and I feel this is a little bit more pink. It's like brighter almost, but I like it a lot. Maybe I should have swatched this next to the Essence. But yeah, essentially, I hope you can see, but I feel like the MAC or the Essence, like the Essence is even more pigmented than the MAC is. The MAC has a little bit more sophistication in the pearl, but here again, in the pearl, there is this sort of like bluish lilac sort of vibe to it, which makes it super wearable and easy to use. And that's one of the reasons why I like the Extra Dimension line so much. There is a, like, because of the, I wouldn't call it shimmer or glitter per se, but there is a pearl sort of particle in those blushes that adds a little bit of glow, but it's not overly glowy, like it's not going to be like this. So if you don't like that, it looks really pretty on the cheeks. And because of the pearl, it makes it super easy to work with, and it makes them effortless to apply. More very light tones then in the Kaleidos line. These blushes are amazing. They do loads of them. And when they released a whole new set of blush shades, they did a shade called Pale Rose. And this is one of the palest blushes I've ever been able to find. This is such a soft pink. You can see I've used it loads. I use it quite often, actually, more than I had anticipated when I picked it up, because I had tried the initial batch and I really liked it. So depending on what you can get your hands on, again, this may be a little bit easier to find than the Artist, because the Artist by Rodin one, so here's the Kaleidos, here's the Rodin one, and I feel they are very, very similar in what they do on the cheeks. The Rodin one is perhaps a little bit more gray, and the other one is just a very, very light, cool tone pink. But very often, I don't feel like brands give us enough of these kind of shades that are going to work really well if you are incredibly fair. But if you do want the pigment, if you want the intensity, then look into the Fenty Beauty range. You can look into the creams or into these suede powder blushes. I really like the suede ones because, again, like the MAC Extra Dimension, this has a hint of pearl to them that makes them really easy to work with. I have 2 shades. This is in the shade Drama Class, but I also own What a Brat, and both of them are beautiful cool tones. And I actually still want to try a shade from Fenty Beauty that is called Cool Berry. I think they only do it in the creams though, but this is really stunning. If you're looking for a good purple blush, this is one of the best options that's currently on the market. It's not my best purple blush though. The best purple blush in my entire collection is still Bittersweet by Urban Decay. After all these years, nobody's been able to do anything like that just yet. But here's Drama Class. It's a classic from Fenty. This is only available through the official website from Fenty Beauty though. It's not sold anywhere else, so you do have to go a little bit out of your way to try and find it. But if it has, like, for instance, this looks positively brown compared to this. If you want no warmth at all, look into purple blushes. And here again, like with a lot of cool toned options, a lot of brands will say it's cool toned or a purple, but very often if you try them, it's not. I did a full video all about purple blush last November or December, so I'll make sure to link that in the description box down below so you can have a look at all of the purple blushes I had in my collection at the time. I've only kept a couple after trying all of them because I don't need every single purpley toned blush option in my makeup collection. And what I just found when I was swatching all of them side by side, a lot of them just aren't that purple. They make them look purple in a lot of the promotional pictures, or the shade name will refer to purple, or like a shade of purple, like they will call it lilac, but then it pulls pink. If you want a true purple, then I feel the Fenty is the only one that truly pulls purple. And then I have one more option for you, and this is by Glossier. This is the Seamless Cheek Color. This is one of their Cloud Paints. This is the Cloud Paint Plush Blush. It's a mouthful. This is in the shade Billow. And this is another one of those putty, sort of cream to powder kind of things. And this is essentially a really cool tone Barbie pink. I don't have too many of these shades in my makeup collection because I feel they all look the same once applied. This is the one that's still a little bit more purpley compared to anything else. I have the Dior Rosy Cheeks blush for a bright pink option, but that's the only one I really truly wear. If I want a bright pink, I reach for that and nothing else. And every brand under the sun, if they do a cool tone, it's going to be shades like this. So I feel you don't need this one in particular. I just feel that compared to everything I've tested out in my day, this is a little bit more unique because it does have that hint of blue to it and a little bit more of a purple pooling quality than most of these bright pinks do. A lot of the bright pinks are just that, a bright pink with a lot of white and then maybe a touch of a blue pigment in there, but most of the time they are just incredibly bright pinks, and I feel that this one is just a little bit special compared to everything I have, but shades like this you probably already own. So here are all of the shades, so you can grab a screenshot if you'd like. We have the Giorgio Armani, the Art Class Too Cool for School. Then we have the first nude one in Muley Ball. This is the second nude one in Dim Dum. Here's the Catrice from the limited edition line. Here's the Essence. What was this again? This is the Jung Mool one. Here is MAC. Then we get Kaleidos. Then we have Fenty Beauty. And then finally we have Glossier. So that is all of the shades that I've shown you in this video today. As I mentioned, there are just a couple of tricks that I like to use when it comes to finding really good cool tone blushes, and that's not by going by swatches on websites or by looking at shade names, but to go the K-beauty route, really, and to also test things out and to not like do the things that brands say you should do or makeup artists. Like I saw a TikTok a couple of weeks ago where an MUA was saying, these are really good cool tone blushes. And I was like, those aren't cool tone blushes. Like, yes, they can be cool toned on some people, but on me, because I own some of the shades that this person was showing in the video that I either now decluttered or I already decluttered them earlier because they weren't that cool tone on me, you know? So that's always one of the shames that even professional makeup artists don't always know what a true cool tone is, it seems. So yeah, that's a very frustrating tactic there. So thanks so much for watching this video today. I hope it was helpful, that there were some options in here, no matter your skin tone, that you can find a good cool tone blush. These were true cool tones though, so if you don't need anything too cool toned, maybe stay away from these. I have plenty of other options as well. I want to do more videos like this throughout the year, where I'm going to be focusing on different shades in my makeup collection as well. I call it my color series, so that's not part of the cool tone series necessarily, but I do want to show like peachy blushes, and like I already did mauve tone blushes as well, so I can link that in the description box down below if you want an overview of all the mauve tone blushes I have. But I want to do the same thing for like peachy corals and things like that. So those are videos that are still going to be coming up in the future. So if you want to follow me and you want to know when those videos go up, it would be very helpful if you subscribe. I chat about makeup on this channel 4 times a week. I have a second channel as well where I do more lifestyle-y things such as vlogs, a bit of fashion, a little bit of bookish content, some journaling from time to time. Sometimes I color on there. It's sort of like the mixed bag of everything that doesn't go onto this channel. So that's called Floating in Books. You can find the link to that in the description box down below, as well as to some of my other social media. So if you want to follow me wherever, then feel free, be my guest. And then I hope to see you again really, really soon in a new video. Bye-bye.